All right, the world got turned on its head yesterday, no doubt. I'd like to start with thoughts and prayers to fellow first responder firefighter Corey Capitor, who was killed yesterday in the attack at the Trump rally. Thoughts and prayers to President Trump and a speedy recovery to him and the other two individuals who were injured in that attack. We all need to take a step back and look at ourselves. You know, the rhetoric that has been spewed about, especially politically, over the last several years needs to stop. We can talk all day long about policies and which policies are better, not only for Chicago, Illinois, or the United States, but the villainization of individuals and references to comparing someone to Adolf Hitler and saying that a person needs to be stopped at all costs only encourages violent attacks like we all saw yesterday. So if you are guilty of it, do better, or you will be highlighted going forward. I can assure you of that. And you all know who you are. It's unnecessary, it's unwarranted, and it's dangerous. And it's only getting more dangerous and more divisive. So if you want to keep talking about bringing everybody together, knock off the nonsense and let's move forward on what really matters about making this city, state, and country better for everybody, not one side or the other for that matter. I'd like to congratulate the well over 100 riders of Cyclocross Illinois who completed their ride from Southern Illinois all the way up to Chicago earlier today. 350 miles in this heat, and they dealt with some rain, and it's definitely a physical feat to be proud of. We had two members, Rick Rivera and Michelle Tannehill, in that ride who completed it, along with Gold Star family member and President Maria Marmolejo. Congratulations to you three. That's something to definitely be proud of. That's a lot of pedaling. This week, we have our annual zoo picnic at Brookfield Zoo. There are still tickets available. We are capping it out at 400, but there are still tickets available. Tickets are 20 for adult, 10 for children. That gets you parking, it gets you in the gate, and it gets you lunch with drink. If you are already a member of Brookfield Zoo, you can pay $10 strictly solely for the luncheon. Again, contact the lodge for more details tomorrow. We completed 2-day arbitration on the insurance increase that the city improperly enforced on our members January 1 of this year in violation of the CBA that we just negotiated. Briefs are scheduled to be filed in the next 60 days with, I would expect, a decision from Arbitrator Brenwald sometime around October, maybe early November. We are seeking not only reimbursement for the 0.75% that was improperly enforced, but interest on that money and a rescinding of that increase to go back to the original rate, and expansion and increased contributions to the lodge to conduct health fairs on a bigger scale. It was pretty telling in this arbitration. Under testimony, the city's lead witness, David Johnson, who is the number 2 guy at Franzik Law Firm, clearly stated that the city never had any intent on turning over healthcare to any entity to have a Philly-like model, which we've been very clear we are trying to get to from the beginning of all of this. So that just goes to show you that they have no intent on bargaining in good faith. And speaking about bargaining in good faith, at the retirement star case ceremony earlier this week, I was able to have a few words with not only the mayor, but the deputy mayor, and there was some issues brought up there. I hope there was an olive branch extended to have conversations about addressing some of these things. We'll see if the mayor's office takes it, but in reality, not only are we talking about things like the FLSA overtime lawsuit, which is well over $150 million price tag and climbing every single day because there is an interest of 5% attached to that number. And the city has lost every single motion for years now. That money is not going down. It is only going to keep increasing. It is a liability the city needs to pay up sooner rather than later. That's one simple topic. The easier one is COVID and the COVID policy that affects many bargaining units in the city of Chicago. Not just us, not just Local 2, but AFSCME, COOP, and many others who basically have had awards from either an administrative law judge or the labor board saying that Lightfoot's policy for COVID was improper and unconstitutional. And it was even a judge in circuit court for an unemployment claim who said it was an unconstitutional policy, the portal itself. So let's move on. The ball is in your court, Mr. Mayor. You want to have conversations about those and other topics to try and get them off the plate and move forward, so be it. If not, the battle goes forward. The choice is yours. But when it comes to battling, I talked about it the last couple of weeks, the chief of patrol arbitrarily deciding that he had the authority to violate our contract and expand 10-hour days to the Central Bike Group improperly. Well, he doubled down. Now he made it the whole Central Control Group. This is an issue that needs to be addressed. This is a person that needs to be addressed. The superintendent needs to put the reins on this guy or demote him immediately. He is absolutely Eric Carter Jr. and even on steroids in many ways. Even Eric Carter didn't have the ignorance to do what he just did. And John Hine was specifically responsible for telling officers that their granted retention of RDOs after providing the two firms requested to remain on their RDOs and said, yes, you can keep them. John Hine said, nope, cancel them. Days later, those were basically useless as the paper where they were written on, and they were forced to work Pride Parade. These issues need to be addressed. They need to stop. Many of the same exempt rank members who kept saying how bad Eric Carter was, but it just is the way it is, are literally looking the other way yet again. Shame on them. Everybody could do better. And there will be an unfair labor practice filed. There'll be actually two of them. And I hope to God the superintendent is paying attention to this and doing something about it. It is not going to be productive to have the troops basically morale shattered prior to the convention coming to this city, especially with all the political heat going on in this country right now. One more thing, let's see, suspension insurance. So we talked about COPA. Yes, we're aware that the typo on the magazine cover this month, not much we can do. It's in everybody's mailboxes at this point. But the need to address Andrea Kirsten's out of control recommendations at COPA has never been more important. And that's why it was the cover story this month. Take a good hard look at that. We're not going away. We're certainly going to keep beating the drum and get on the community commission's responsibility of oversight on COPA and do something about it. It needs to stop. But with the convention coming up and the expectations that Andrea Kirsten is licking her chops at COPA to make recommendations and insane discipline recommendations to try and take money out of our officers' pockets, we worked with a vendor to come up with a policy for basically insurance against suspension time. So we'll be doing roll calls all this week explaining the vendor's policy and the benefits and the cost. And if you do not get a roll call this week, please call the lodge for more details. I'm not going to go into them here, obviously, but we're going to try and get out across as many parts of the city as possible to try and highlight this opportunity for our members and this agreement with this company. It's a pretty incredible policy, and give everybody a little peace of mind with the insanity we all know is coming next month during the DNC. Everybody try and stay cool. Have a good rest of the weekend. We'll see you soon.